think we've lost radio contact with Lou. Oh dear. It's not good. Look at that. He's still really enjoying this kill, but it can't be comfortable for him standing up there in that tree like that. And is starting to warm up quite a bit. I think that leopard was very lucky to avoid these lions because, as I was saying, well, firstly, the leopard is not powerful enough to take on these male lions. The other thing is surprisingly, within the Sabi sands, the last month or two, we've had a lot of lions killing leopards, catching and killing leopards for some reason, and it's purely competition. They're not hunting them. But I'm trying to think. I know 3 or 4. Is it all right? Okay. What we're going to do now? Let's quickly head over to one of the team members in the Mara. Let's see if we can get our comms up and working again. Fortunately, I've lost comms with Lou, and we'll be back shortly. Was that WhatsApp you got? Yeah, but that was earlier. Did you? Oh.
Now, wasn't that something to see a male lion in a tree with 2 impali? Excuse me. We have had a very interesting situation unfold here. The 4 cubs separated from the rest of the pride went towards the old den site. 3 of them went into the den site, and 1 of them just carried on up here. Now we've lost him because we wanted to keep our distance from him. I didn't want to get too close to him and, disturb him or give him a fright. But he's moved a long way away from the females and his siblings and cousins. And I think he's gone into the rocks over here. We didn't see, he just kind of didn't come out from over here, which I think is a good thing. I think he's probably found himself a shady spot in amongst the rocks there and the croton bushes. But why he has chosen to separate himself so far from the others, I don't know. He walked away, then he called, and we were completely static at this stage, so he did it of his own accord. It wasn't because we frightened him. And he called and nobody else came, and he just turned around and he just kept coming up here. And now he's disappeared into these rocks somewhere. And this, as we were discussing earlier, is how lion cubs get lost. He could be taken by an eagle, he could easily be taken by a jackal, he could be taken by a hyena, he could be taken by a snake, he could be taken by a very big monitor lizard, for example. Highly unlikely, but it's possible. He's a tiny little cub. I say he, but it could easily be a female. I don't know what it was. Anyway, he's gone up into these rocks somewhere. So we'll just gently ooze down the hill here, and I'll show you where the others are. And then I think we will probably decide to leave the Black Rock Pride for the day. And we might come back this afternoon depending on what sort of signal we have on offer. There is a lion cub sitting on the rocks on the top there. It's getting quite warm now, which is a relief. Freezing it was yesterday after the rains. I don't know where this little fellow's gone. MKL, you say, how many cubs do I predict will make it to adulthood here? Well, I mean, the rule of thumb is 2 out of 8, at least 2 out of 10 females and 1 out of 10 males. So let's pretend there's a ratio roughly equal here. So 1 female and 1 male, I guess. Maybe 2 females and 1 male. That would be a pretty good return. So I don't know. That may or may not happen. It may or may not be the case. Now 3 of them went into the rocks here. In fact, only 2 of them went into the rocks here. There you can see the one sticking his head out the side there. He's just about to come out onto the top. You see that? I think he's gone. Hang on, let's just keep going. He's gone round the other side. One of them got up underneath a rock a little bit further along, and then the rest are still under the same bush we left them under when you were last with us, before Byron found the tree climbing lion of Djuma. Tree climbing impala pilfering. Yeah, there's one there, just coming out Pride Rock style, wondering where on earth his brother or sister has gone. That's very sweet, isn't it? Now, along the lines of why on earth this cub should have separated, Cheeky Geeky Beth, you're wondering if perhaps the cub is extra sensitive to some sort of danger and has moved over into that area because she sensed, or he sensed, something that the others didn't. I would say that that's very unlikely. The safest place for a little lion cub to be right now is either in this den site or with their mothers. And there you can just see, Sabi, we can go quickly across. We can see one of the lionesses now moving into the shade with one of the cubs, and the rest of them are all there. That's about 120 meters away. 250 feet or so. No, about 400 feet. Astonishing. Okay, let's go straight back across to South Africa for the descent of the male lion.
Alright, our comms are back, everyone. We've repositioned the vehicle. Now watch how uneasy this male lion is up in the tree. He looks almost as if a slight or mild panic has set in. He's trying to turn around. He's very uncomfortable. Have a look at this. This is incredible. I wonder if he's going to try pull that kill down first. Or is he just going to try? It almost looks like he's stuck. Now this is one cat I wouldn't like to try and help out of a tree. He can't turn around. This plan for a meal just didn't pan out. The plan for a meal just didn't work out as well as he thought it would. Look at them. Just gives us so much more respect for leopards to see how easily they climb up and down trees. Look at that. It's almost as if he's got a bloodied face from that kill. He's managed to feed on quite a bit of it. Let's see. He's probably going to take a few steps down and then jump. So let's just have a look. Watch, and look at that big jump. There we go. Exactly. Just as I thought. They don't have the ability to really climb down like a leopard can climb down. And obviously much heavier. Very interesting. Now I wonder if the other brother will decide to come and climb up. The other one's just off to the left. Maybe he's waiting for his brother to move off. MKL, you say you love seeing how clumsy lions are in trees. Not as agile as a leopard. Jason, I'm not sure why he didn't pull this kill down. It would have been much easier for him to feed on. He would have been able to then probably share with his brother, but he would have kill. I don't know why he didn't pull it down. I have no idea. Unless it was just too difficult. But, lion's powerful. I would assume that he'd have the power and the ability to be able to grab that kill and pull it out of the tree, but I'm not sure. Again, we never know. We never really know. Different behavior, and this is maybe this lion is just a bit inexperienced. I don't know how many kills they've taken out of the trees. That could be another thing. Who knows? Who knows? But I would have thought he would pull that down. Now I wonder if they're not going to hang around here for a while, and maybe the brother will try and climb up and get some of the kill. But for the moment, I don't see any movement from these two lions. Andrew, now we were chatting about this a bit earlier, and you asked how often lions would climb trees like this, and not that often at all. Well, Andrew, I think that's always a tricky question, I should say, because, Andrew, the thing is the lions, I think it depends on the area, firstly. So up in East Africa, where the rest of the team are in the Mara, we've seen lions there climbing trees a lot more than they do down here. Now, I have seen lions in trees here. Usually it's younger lions when they are playful, but it'll be trees that are easy to climb. Nice, big, thick branches, easy to climb up and down. Not a difficult tree that a leopard would be able to climb. But just generally climbing trees, they don't do it often at all, especially the older lions. However, I have seen lions down in South Africa climbing trees, and especially when there is food from a leopard kill, then they will try and climb up and steal it. But I wouldn't say it happens as much as you see those lions in the Mara climbing trees, but it varies, I suppose. Like I said, it's a difficult question to give an exact answer. They do climb trees, not nearly as often, obviously, as leopards, but they will climb trees when they want something. So males, usually if there's a kill in a tree, and females and youngsters I've seen now and then just for a bit of playful behavior, but it doesn't happen often. Alright, I'm going to sit here for a few more minutes. Let's just see. I'm going to see if these lions do move. We'll wait. Maybe the brother decides to go up. But while I do that, let's head back across to Taylor, find out how her drive in the Mara is going.
Slippery is how our driving is going at the moment. Almost threw Ferg off the car accidentally. Obviously we had so much rain yesterday that all the soil up on this end over here is very, very, very slippery. So we're trying to stay on the road, but it's the most bizarre thing. I don't know why I do it. Maybe you'll see it just now. When I'm driving and I start sliding, I don't know if it's from the horse riding days, because I did have a horse that bucked like a bucking bronco constantly. He was so naughty. I put my hand up, sliding, it's bizarre. Look, we've got some Eland. Where are you going? Trying to find some nice ones. I saw a massive Eland bull the other day. It was actually beautiful on the Tanzanian border, but sadly, we don't always have the greatest signal down there. But we've got some females that are just moving through. Most of them look like girls. They've got very long, slender horns. It's really nice to see so many Eland around. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful creatures. And I think we need to set ourselves a goal. How does this sound? We we would like to see an eland running at full speed, which is not particularly quick, but then leaping over something. It can be a fence, it can be another eland, it can be a rhinoceros. We just want to see them jump. Or even bucking is quite impressive. You wouldn't think that an animal of its sort of size, and it's not the most athletic looking antelope that we have out here, but it is absolutely amazing how it can bound about. It's actually quite funny, in fact. Where are you all off to? Very quiet. Wind is starting to pick up now, so I think it's going to be a blustery afternoon, as it is most days. Very, very bright lights. We're just going to do a loop. So we are going to head back around and towards the Angama Pride. We couldn't find the girls. They were hiding away in a thicket. But there's plenty of game around. And like I said, we know that they are notorious for hunting in between game drives. So we're going to slowly start making our way around. We're just doing a little scenic loop to see if there's anything interesting out and about. You know, you never know. Maybe a triangle boy, one of those big male lions. Maybe we find one of them, or two of them, or three of them. That would be quite nice. But nothing just yet. It was actually fairly quiet last night. I think I only heard the lions roar twice. And the roars that I heard sounded quite far away. So perhaps the Triangle Boys are out on a territorial patrol. Right, shall we continue sliding? Oh, this is going to be a fun one, I think, Ferg. Look at what we've got ahead of us. Well, this is what we're going to go through. Or I could go on to the left, but then we're just creating more and more ruts. Right, let's get this. Let's do this. I'm probably going to have to go into low range, but also the car doesn't like low range. We're going to bang it. Okay, ready, Ferg? Don't go in the mud, wallow! Oh, it's not so bad. That's boring. I thought it was going to be so much more fun than that. And my is on the other side of the reserve. When we slip and slide, and it's so flat. Oh no, I'm going off there. Oh my goodness. Oh, right. I'm going to try and keep both hands on the wheel and tires on the ground. Scott is driving in a much drier area. I wonder where he is.
Yes, I think I am further south than Taylor, and I am on a main road, which tend to be a better substrate than the other two tracks that veer off them, and I think that's where Taylor's slipping and sliding. Look at all these zebra. Sparkling clean after a good shower yesterday evening. And what an awesome scene this is. Haven't seen a large group of zebra like this for a while, and I'm hoping there's going to be quite a few large resident herds that stay here during the quieter months while the migration's away. Wonderful. Manu and I have covered quite a lot of ground since you were last with us, with not too much joy, but we are making our way now towards the cheetah and her den site, or at least that area. There's no confirmation that she's in fact still there or will be there this morning, but that was our plan B when we headed out if we didn't have any action along the Mara River, which we have now completed travelling along. We didn't travel the whole length of the Mara River, but a portion of it. It would be quite far to travel in just a morning all the way to the Tanzanian border. So we have decided to now start heading kind of back in the general direction of camp, but like I said, we will be stopping off at in an area where hopefully we find a cheetah. And if we're very, very lucky, we'll get to see a tiny little furball cubs. I've yet to see them. I think only Brent has managed to show you guys a glimpse of them. Take your time. Thank you. Have a good day. It's interesting. Sometimes zebra and wildebeest can be very, very relaxed, and you literally have to stop for them to get out the way. Stanley Cubed. Good to have you on board. you've just mentioned that this is a zebra main road, and I think you couldn't have mentioned it at a better time, as the road is literally covered with them. You may notice a few little blobs of colour in the distance. There's been an elaborate bush breakfast set up for some very lucky tourists who have floated into breakfast on a hot air balloon and now will be sipping on champagne and orange juice as they wait for their tasty bacon and eggs. How awesome is this? Hi Nikki, you would like to know if these herds will stick together in family groups or if they'll be mixing and matching, and it varies with different zebra, but these guys do mix and match quite a bit. As you can see, there's lots of zebras here, so it won't be one stallion in charge of this herd, rather many stallions with their groups of ladies. Some zebras, like the Giraffe zebra, will not have a harem. Like most of the plains zebra, they will only compete for ladies when it is breeding season. Well, sadly, some of you guys may be stuck in traffic whilst joining us on this safari, and thankfully this is the only kind of traffic we get out here. And very, very happy to be stuck in a jam of this nature. Look at them all flapping their tails, keeping the flies at bay. Hi Jason, you would like to know if the animals tend to use the roads as pathways when on the move or possibly migrating. And yes, they certainly do have a tendency to use the roads, just like we do. It's just the path of least resistance. Having said that though, in the Mara, because it is so open, the animals have less of a requirement to do so, especially now in the drier months. Maybe when it's a lot wetter and the grass is much longer and the soil is soggy and marsh-like, they will then stick more to the roads. But in an area like Djuma, yes, definitely, where the bush is quite thick, the roads become a very easy pathway to travel along. And I think that's what helps us find a lot of our animals, because as we travel along the pathways we have made, so too do they. Wonderful. Okay guys, we're coming through. I want to see if I can spot one where their stripes don't match up. I always love seeing zebra that have managed to survive a lion attack. Shame there's this lapwing over here that may have a nest, and hence it's shouting out loudly to try and deter the zebra from coming too close. How awesome are those bright yellow legs and its wattle? Cool. Well, I can't seem to find any zebra in the immediate area whose stripes, like I say, don't match up perfectly. And what that means is a lion would have scraped them and they've grown back, often in a different spot. But seeing as though I can't find any, we are going to send you back to Taylor McCurdy as we make our way off towards the area of that cheetah den.
Hello again. Well, I'm just reversing. The reason why is because I want to try and get out of this rut that I'm in to get on this side of the road, because there's some little piglets. And the reason why I need to get onto the other side is because there's a car coming and they're going to drive past it. I'm trapped. I can't. I'm stuck. We're committed. We'll go through it and then we will look. Once the other car has passed us, we'll have a look. But it's still a beautiful day, of course, and we're driving around. Hello, nice people. Wave at the nice people. Okay, let's look at the little piggies. Oh, no. No, no, they're behind a little. Oh, this is a wonderful day. Okay, hang on. We could get a view here. I'm just trapped. And And there's lots of like little raised sections now that we can't see. The pigs are so small. You're going to literally just see, oh wow, that was so graceful. Hey, that was really nice. Actually, we should do that with a bit more speed next time. Or we do a 180. But there the little pigs run off with their family off into the distance. They obviously didn't like the sound of my cart too much. And I don't blame Mom. It's always good to be a little bit cautious when you've got such tiny little piglets. And unfortunately, most of them, if any of them, will make it to adulthood, being snatched up from lions, and a jackal will catch a little warthog too, even the big birds of prey that we see within the area too. So rather run away than be too brave and bold, and then we'll lose your little ones. But we are on our way back towards the lions, and hopefully they're going to be up and doing something. Let's keep going. Let's carry on. So, Kirst, who is directing today, I have a question for you. Are you ready for it? You're listening. What are you doing after game drive today? Oh my gosh, okay. So, never mind. Kirst is going for a massage today. However, what I was really wanting to know was that, yes, Kirst, I do have something better to offer this. So I'm talking to the director if you have just tuned in. Ginger Snap, aka K-Tart, that's also one of her nicknames. I was wondering if we should go for another hike, another adventure, because Ferg has never been on one. And he said he'd quite like to go on an adventure. But I feel like you deserve your massage. Okay, so we're going to go after our massage. Okay, cool. I'm also just planning my day as we make our way towards lions. We're going climbing some rocks and doing all sorts of wonderful things. Okay, I thought I actually saw a lion's head. We're not too far away. They were just around the corner-ish. So we'll see if we can get them. I'm really hoping those adults manage to jump up again and start moving around, because it was zebras. I mean, we've just seen a family of warthogs. There are buffalo all still around, but the buffalo are putting a big gap between them, so they're going to lose their opportunity if they want to try and go for a buffalo again. Otherwise, they're going to have to move quite far down to the northeast, and there's big herds of zebra. Or they could go this way and try and catch something in, well, one of the other luggers. But we're going to keep moving around and just see if there's any changes within the Angama pride. James has got some animals he'd like to show you.
So many animals want to show you. That is the Coke's hartebeest. Now, very seldom do we see the Coke's hartebeest in company with the taupai. And the taupai, just to the left of those, don't mind there. There are the taupi. So you can see the difference in the horns, you can see the difference in the colour, and you know, on first sighting they look very similar, but when you see them standing next to each other like this, they're not quite the same. Now, Seb was trying to work out the French name, and you said that the taupi you thought was? Yeah, well, I think that's right, because I'm just checking now, its Latin name is Damaliscus lunatus. And then the hartebeest is Acephalus bucephalus. Okay, let's go across to Scott, who's got something that he always finds.
I certainly have been very, very fortunate with these incredible Serval cats, and to have one in the morning sunlight like this is a real treat. We more often find them after dark, but they do move during the day. Like most predators, they may be more active at night, but not necessarily only active at night. And we are going to try and see if we can stay with this incredibly beautiful little cat. They're interesting animals. They've got long legs, but are almost kind of the size as a domestic cat's body, it's fair to say. But you can see they're quite long and slender. Very big round ears with those beautiful white bars on the back of them. It's one of my favorite marks or markings on the Serval. It'll be looking for small rodents, maybe birds, and look at it listening very intently there. And I tend to find that they go from bush to bush looking for possible prey, and as a rodent, I guess you'd probably base yourselves in and around a bush, and a lot of the birds, of course, will nest in these bushes, so they kind of go from bush to bush searching for any possible prey. Is it going to have any luck in there? Well, sadly, we can't get much closer to it than where we are here, so we just have to be patient and see what it does. Oh, cool. What can you hear in there? You can see it's very, very focused. Oh, wow! What did it get? What is in your mouth? Look at the feathers falling down. I think it's got something in its mouth, Moni. See if you can stay tight on its head. Oh, don't do that. We might have to try and do a slow motion replay to try and work out what it went for and what happened there. I definitely saw what seemed to be a feather popping down, and that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and certainly the coolest thing I've ever seen a serval do. Shoo! Took me completely by surprise. I thought it was going to pounce into the air and then land in the grass, but it just went straight high up into that bush and seemed to catch on to something. So you'll be glad to know Kirsty in the final control and all of her helpers, I'm not sure who they are exactly today, are busy prepping a little slow motion replay for us, so we'll be able to look at that and work out, or at least try and work out what it went for. But it must have been a bird. Let's see if we can't see. Let me reverse a bit. I'm just stopped with one of the park rangers here. He was also enjoying the sighting. And actually, if it wasn't for his presence, we wouldn't have known that it was here. Let's see if we have any luck out there. Sure, that was the coolest thing. It's the first time I've ever seen a serval pounce like that. Ah. I've lost track of which bush it was. It was that one there, hey Manu, I think, yeah, and it took it off that high branch. So it's just too far away from us now at the moment, sadly. But what an incredible scene it was. And to be able to witness a serval pounce live like that all the way from the Masai Mara, I think is a huge, huge blessing for everyone who is joining us on this safari. Let me just make a bit of space here. Aya bwana, sante. Okay, well, the good news is the team up in the final control have already whipped together that slow motion video. Apparently it's difficult to work out what exactly happens, but I think it's still going to be epic to see the serval leaping into the air in the slow motion. Enjoy. So, like I said, tricky to work out exactly what it was, but it must have been a bird of sorts, because those are the only creatures that have feathers. And you saw a little cloud of feathers. I'm surprised. I mean, it could have just been a tiny, tiny bird that had literally just like swallowed whole in a mouthful. Because nothing flew away. And I didn't get a good enough look to see if there was actually something in its mouth, but it didn't appear that there was anything in its mouth. So, bizarre. Yeah, bizarre. Maybe it just swallowed like a little bite-size finch or small bird like that, a little warbler, who knows. But the fact that it could sneak up on that bird and snatch it off that quite high branch is a good example of how athletic and what good hunters those serval are. I don't understand if, you see, maybe what happened is if it did miss the bird could have maybe flown out or down behind it, I'm guessing. That must have been what happened. You would have thought, though, you would have seen the bird fly out in one of many directions, but Still very cool to see. It's a good start to add to our list of servals hunting, and I think with more time spent in the Mara with all the serval that do live here, we are going to get to see some really interesting behavior. I guess we've already seen them feeding on a wildebeest along with a hyena, which was an incredible sighting that Taylor shared with some of you. Hi James, you would like to know if their kind of shortish tail would be an evolutionary kind of adaptation to help them leap higher into the air, and you've also pointed out that caracal also have shorter tails, and I think yes, I think that's definitely a plausible theory, because they're not moving high speeds along the ground chasing their prey like a cheetah, for example, and even lion and leopard, who have longer chases and therefore need a longer tail to help them balance. The caracals and servals do seem to be pounce hunters, and I think a short tail would be able to assist them in doing that. Definitely. Good point and good observation, and I agree fully with your theory. Alrighty then, well, we are heading up onto the foothills of this escarpment ahead of us. That's where we're hoping to find a cheetah, and while we head there, you are going to be spending some time with some antelopes with James.
Now we have got the same thing, unfortunately, that Taylor showed you, an eland, in fact a lot of eland, moving up a hill on top of which I'm also hoping to find the cheetah, because Brent swore blind that I'd find one down here. So far not, but this is the most gorgeous area, the same place where we had the Coke's hartebeest and of course the Sabi, not Sabi, the Topi, and if we swing the camera to the other side we can see a whole lot more, or a whole lot more, two more eland, just moving up through this quite remarkable collection of rocks and outcrops, and then also there's a stream running through the middle of it where the reedbuck like to sit. It really is extremely attractive. We don't have great signal here, so unfortunately we won't be able to spend too much time around these parts, but really quite spectacular place. Isn't that gorgeous? A question from Jamez Rashad. Jamez Rashad wondering about the dewlap on the male eland and how long it takes to develop fully. It's not only the males that have them, the females also have them for some reason. They're not as big as the males, and I would say that they probably continue growing. I don't know. I've never read anything about the development of the dewlap, so I'm going to say 3 or 4 years, plus minus. I'll have a quick look now, see if I can find anything in this vein. Oh, interestingly, males tend to increase weight throughout their life. That's interesting. And the dewlap enlarges until it hangs below the level of the knees, so it can keep going. But the females also have a small dewlap. It's nothing like the size of the males, but it is there. So I'm going to say that they probably have a potential lifespan of around about 20 years, and therefore that the dewlap could probably keep growing until they were about 12 or so. What are those things? Are those impala at the base of the hill there? You see them there? I've lost my binoculars. They're in the bottom of my bag. There's a mixed herd, is there? Some Coke's hartebeests. Mixed herd of impala. All enjoying this ecotone section, so not out in the open like you'd find the wildebeest. Sometimes you find the eland out in the open, but largely you'll find that they like the ecotone regions, so the areas between two habitat types, between woodland and between at least between woodland and grassland, and between rocks and grasses, etc., etc. Very nice. Now, can somebody please tell me, because I've forgotten, naturally, along with a number of other things that I once used to know, why it is that an eland clicks? I've forgotten. Do you remember, Seb?
Trying to.
I'm sure it's one of those things that we've all heard before, but don't necessarily remember. Kirsten McLennan Smith in the final control says it's arthritis. Thank you, Kirsten. Clearly your film schooling did not do a great deal of biological teaching, but it's about as effective as mine, seemingly. All right, let's continue up this hill. Somebody could let us know using the hashtag #SafariLive. That would be much appreciated.
Something in their hooves, or
It's something in their knees, I thought, but it might be in their... No, maybe you're right. It is in their hooves. I've forgotten. It could be anywhere, but I'm pretty sure it's not arthritis. So what we're going to do is send us across to the font of all knowledge in South Africa, driving around as he is on Djuma, the seat of all knowledge, and find out from him whether or not he knows why there is clicking.
Now, we have come down to the dam, to Chitwa Dam. We left those lions. Now, the lions decided to climb down. As you saw, our timing was perfect. We saw that one male up in the tree, and then he climbed down. And it's almost like that male was protecting the kill from the brother. He wasn't allowing the other brother to get close to the tree. So the lions are now just lying at the bottom of the tree. No one's really moving around. So we thought we'd see if we can find Tingana. Perhaps we're not sure where he moved. We thought we'd come down and have a look around the dam, but unfortunately we haven't had any sign of him yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone down into a drainage line, possibly he's lying down already. I think he'd probably quite full, because he did feed on that one impala and just about finished it. There wasn't much left of that, but there's still a lot of meat on that second impala, and I think maybe those lions at some point might climb up and try get the rest of it. But fortunately for us, we've also still got this wonderful pod of hippo. It looks like the dam has filled up a little bit from when I last saw it. Now, while we're watching these, Henry, James wanted to know if I know why those eland make that clicking sound. So, James, I know what it is. I don't know if what the reason is. Now, I've seen this, and I've seen it in the Kalahari. We get a lot of eland in that area, and especially the older, bigger eland. They get like it's a cartilage in their ankles, and when they walk from time to time, it makes a clicking sound, and I don't know exactly what the cause is. I don't think there's a reason behind it. I don't think it's a communication or anything, but the older eland, and perhaps it's that weight that they're carrying, but it is something in their hooves. Now, they do also enjoy mountainous areas from time to time, the eland, so I don't know if that's just a way that the hoof has been modified, or the ankle, to strengthen that ankle a little bit when moving over rocky areas. But it is a cartilage in the ankle that clicks, causes that clicking sound. However, when eland do want to move through an area very quickly, they can sometimes, if they are running or moving quicker, that clicking sound goes away. So I don't know if they tense that the muscles around there slightly, and it causes that cartilage to stop clicking. But it is a cartilage in the ankle that clicks. So that's what it is. But I don't think there's a specific reason for it. So James, I hope that that helps you out. But I've seen it, and I've asked some people who work in the area, and ecologists and that, and they've explained that to me. So it's interesting. I've never seen it on other antelope, only the large eland. I just had a look around. I see there's a crocodile just on the other side of that island on the bank over there. A crocodile out already sunning itself. Not quite as big as the crocodiles we get in the Mara, but still a crocodile I would not swim with. So just sunning itself. It's still quite cool this morning, but starting to warm up a bit. I'm sure that crocodile will return to the water a little bit later. I'm going to carry on searching around this area, see if we have any sign of that leopard. Let's head across all the way back to the Mara to Taylor, who's got the tallest mammal in Africa, or in the world.
I'm surrounded by giraffe at the moment, and I suspect that it is the same herd that you watched frolic about with Jamie yesterday afternoon, which was quite beautiful. And I actually saw them the evening before that. They were all walking in a beautiful line, and I counted 17 of them. Manu and I counted 17. It was so spectacular. But it's just amazing to see how relaxed they are. This is actually really cool. Now, what I'm hoping is going to happen is we need a really tiny baby giraffe so that when it walks through the legs of this one on the right, we could get nice framing. I've always wanted a picture like that. Today's not going to be that day, though. I'll have to wait a little bit longer. Oh, my goodness. The insects are around. The dragonflies are actually out. Can you see the dragonflies, Ferg? The ones that are buzzing about the giraffe. Now, so unfortunately, I don't have a monitor today, so I'm just banking on Ferg. But you may be able to see some tiny little things flying around the giraffe. And now, that's actually not the midges, which we haven't seen. There's also a vehicle coming, so I do apologize. And those dragonflies will probably be going after something like those midges. They're incredible predators. They are quite ferocious. They move quite quickly, too. Let's see, is this car going to park behind us? It's going to go past. No, it's also going to have a look at the beautiful giraffe. It is a spectacular scene, all feeding down in this lugger. This is where the bridge is, of course. And we've got nice trees, so there's plenty of food for the giraffe to feed on. But oh, can you see them? Okay, there we go. So now you can see all the dragonflies that are moving around. So at first I thought they may have been alates. Was that a sneeze, Ferg? Mm-hmm. Bless you. That was you allergic to dragonflies. Oh no. It was quite funny. It was the most elegant sneeze I've ever heard. And then that was all. Goodness, if I had to sneeze right now, I'd petrify all the giraffe. They'd go stampeding in the opposite direction. But at first I thought the little things that were flying around were alates, but they're not. But we must keep an eye out for that. We must start checking the termite mounds maybe this evening, maybe even all the next couple of days, and see if they start to release them, because that's really amazing to watch. But for now, we'll just watch the dragonflies buzz about the giraffe. Imagine if a dragonfly could be big enough to grab a giraffe and carry it away. Ooh. Now, Roshni, you're wondering if there is another collective noun for giraffe other than journey. Well, again, you can get so creative. So typically when a group of giraffe are standing still, you would say a tower of giraffe. And then when they're on the go, you would say a journey of giraffe. Should we play a game? Here we go. Hashtag Safari Live. Who can get creative and give us the most spectacular collective noun for a group of giraffe? Let's see, Ferg, can you think of one off the top of your head? Kirst, you'll have something punny, I bet.
I'm going to have to take one from Jamie yesterday, but a skyline.
A skyline of giraffe. Very nice. That was from Jamie yesterday. Jamie does have a way with words, doesn't she? So that's very nice. I'm going to say... Oh, wait, Kirst, I didn't hear. What did you say yours was? No. No, I don't know what Kirst said. She did say something, but I was talking too loudly, so I didn't hear her. What could... Oh, too much pressure. Okay, well, we'll try and think of some good ones. Let's get creative, everybody. We'll maybe sit here for a little bit longer. However, Byron has got a giraffe all the way in South Africa, and it's got its head between its legs.
We do indeed. Just finished drinking. Now, this giraffe has decided to drink from a small little puddle. And now I think I think it's probably because it's nice, clean, fresh rainwater that this giraffe has decided to drink. Yeah, not at the dam. I'm not sure. Just the one giraffe. Well, it's nice to see giraffe around. VM says he's not a fan of the giraffe. Why is that, VM? VM says the giraffe don't hunt and bite other animals, so he prefers the big cats, the lions and the leopards, especially the leopards. Have you?
Yeah, I'm a cat person.
He's a cat person. A beautiful male, this big male. Now, getting back to our Eland discussion, Judy H. You was saying that it may be a dominance display with those Eland clicking their ankles. I wonder, it could possibly be. I'm just trying to think now, Judy, because I mean, I've seen, like I said, I've seen it many times in the Kalahari with these Eland walking and clicking, and if I remember, there'd sometimes be a few Eland doing it. There, those ankles clicking. Now, I wonder if it is still a dominance display, then if there are a number of them that do it in a herd. It's interesting. So I don't really know what the reason for that is. Just that, like I said, maybe just the cartilage getting a bit stiff and tight and clicking when they're walking through, especially sandy areas. I've noticed that does happen a lot more. But I'm not sure. It's interesting. Alright. Well, our giraffe is moving off, and Taylor's apparently coming up with more collective nouns. There's a lot of them already. I know a journey or a tower. I wonder what else Taylor has come up with. Let's go and find out.
Well, the only other one I have is for when giraffe are fighting, when the males are necking one another. Then I call them a pretzel of giraffe. But I'm actually quite stumped. I'm not feeling very creative today. But look, Byron, our giraffe is now also having a drink, just like the one that you were watching a moment ago. And not drinking from a dam or anything, just drinking from a little lugger that is filled with water after yesterday's downpour. Licking your lips, it must be delicious. Ooh. Now, Sun Farmer, you say a scaffolding of giraffe. I really like that one. That is very creative. So well done there. Kirst had one. Kirst said she's not proud of it, though, but I'm going to say it. You said, Kirst said, what did you say again? A stilt of giraffe. And then Emily, you've said a puzzle of giraffe. That actually works well, a puzzle of giraffe, just because of their beautiful markings. So that's quite good. And I like this. And it's so fun for kids as well, and to get them, to stimulate their minds and get them thinking, to do things like this. Like I told you the other day that this is what my mom would do with us as well. We'd come up with various collective nouns for the different animals. Now, when a giraffe goes to have a drink, what could we call that? Because that's impressive. Ooh. Those are some interesting breaks. Ooh. No, I can't think today. I'll have to do some homework and try and write them down. That's what we'll talk about on our walk today. It's what you call a group of giraffe. But there's plenty of them. I don't think they're going to spend too much day out in the open. I reckon they're probably going to feed along this tree line. It's so lovely and lush. There's lots of water for them to drink. And maybe later on they will go for a stroll out in the open. I'd actually like to spend some time with them when they are completely out in the open. It's nice to see just how many there are around here. And there's some of those curious males that are hassling some of the youngsters too, which you saw yesterday with Jamie. So that's quite fun to see. But just scanning around, making sure there's no prides or lions lurking about, because, well, lions will go after giraffe, as we all know. Let's see, this little one coming to the left, though, wants to suckle. But Mom's not too happy with the little one. It keeps moving off. No. Yeah, next time. sometimes mom needs a bit of a break too. Now, the cheetah man of Africa has been searching far and wide for the cheetah den. Has he found it? I'm not sure. Let's go back onto Scott's car.
Well, with some help from Manu, who's on camera with me today, we have located the exact bush that the cheetah was seen in with a few tiny furballs about a week ago. There doesn't seem to be anybody home today, and I'm wondering if she hasn't either moved the cubs off. There have been quite a few of us coming to search her without any luck, or worst case scenario, she may have already lost those cubs and just moved off, obviously without them. So either way, we'll continue to scour this area. If she has moved the cubs, in theory, she wouldn't have moved them a huge distance. But it's a tricky area for us to search. As you can see, as Mana zooms out, she was kind of nestled a third of the way up the Olololo escarpment. It would be a beautiful place to view a cheetah with these massive open plains that roll down below the hill. Very good. So now that we've spent a bit of time here, we've been here about 10 minutes just scanning to see if there's any sign of her. We'll just continue and see if we don't have any luck further along this ridge. You can see one or two puddles in the road, and also how the roads have been swept smooth. There's no vehicle tracks on them. We're the first people to drive down this road today, or since it rained yesterday afternoon. Hello, Kim. You would like to know what is my favorite season out in the bush? I guess a lot depends on, the area you may be working in. Down in the Sabi sands, where you've been cruising around with Byron this morning, my favorite time of the year is probably September, October. I love it when it's dry. Oh, I think James has got some interesting stuff going on with ostriches, but I love it because it's dry and not too cold in the September, October months down in Djuma. But here up in Kenya, it doesn't change too much. We need to get you to James. Goodbye.
There we have an ostrich, as Baron said there, with very pink leggies, and that's because he is courting his ladies who are next to him. 2 ladies he has. They are just letting it all hang out, as you can see there, with their wings, demonstrating that they find him a little bit tiresome by facing their heads with their tiny little brains towards the ground and flapping their wings out. That's actually, I've never seen that before, not that I've spent a huge amount of time with ostriches in my life. Isn't that interesting? You'd imagine they'd do that. Look at the musculature underneath the wing there. You'd imagine they'd do that when it got hot, but it most certainly is not hot today. How fascinating. I've never seen that. I'm making it up. I don't know what she's saying to the male at all, but I'm pretty sure it's a signal. I think there's about to be something fairly unpleasant. Oh, there we are. Yeah. Thank you. Looks like a zebra, doesn't it? I mean the dung. It looks like a zebra's dung. That's what I meant there. Yes. Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry about that. Apparently there's a bit of consternation there. Beautiful scenes, and it's very quiet now suddenly. I will tell you that while I have made mention of the fact that the Mara tends to be a little quieter than Djuma in the morning, the night time around Salah's camp where we slept last night, well, you may as well have tried to sleep in a nightclub. There was a group of starlings that made more noise than most nursery schools I have been to make. There were lions, there were baboons, there were leopards, there were hyenas yelling all around us all night long. And then there was rain to top it all off. You see how astounded the ostriches by my story there. Alrighty, let us continue from here. We're going to go round back to the Pride and just see if that herd of wildebeest hasn't made their way towards the Pride. Siberia Zumi, you're wondering about how much power is in an ostrich's legs. I don't know how to give it to you in any kind of meaningful figure, but I will tell you that they are immensely fast. They can run at about 70 kilometers per hour, which is pretty quick. And I will also tell you that their legs are powerful enough to, and I'm going to say this, it's not a very nice thought, to gut a human being. So when they kick, they'll kick forward, and their claws would hook into you and basically rip a hole in your guts. And obviously then your guts would fall out, and the people have died from ostrich kicks like that, as have predators, of course. So it is very powerful. It's difficult to say how powerful. I don't know. I'm not even sure how you define it. I'm sure there would be a way, but they are certainly not to be trifled with. Nikki, yes, I think they do actually. You say, do the male ostriches hang around to help with the babies? Much like with many bird species, the males do hang around, and I think I think they actually incubate the eggs sometimes as well. I feel like I've been asked this before, and that I should know the answer precisely, but as is often the case, I seem to have forgotten. Let's get off this horrible bumpy road. Don't they do what at night? Incubate. Yes, I think they do incubate at night. Yes. Oh, that's a good point. Yes, Sebastian's just reminded me of something that I'm sure somebody told me a long time ago. He said, don't the males incubate in the dark and the females in the day? And that's one of the reasons why they think the males are dark and the females are light-coloured. That could well be true. I'll check it up. Very nice little anecdote there, especially if it's true, which I think it might be. Now, it's around about here that the murder of the wildebeest happened yesterday evening at the Teeth and Claws at the Black Rock Pride. While we go back to that murderous group of lions, which they should be, of course, because they are lions, we're going to go across to Taylor with possibly the least murderous bird in all the world.
That's not true. They catch lots of insects, James. But I must tell you a very funny comment. So Kirst, who's directing, said to me, is that a three-banded plover? And Ferg's response was, that bird knows her birds. Made me... But it was so great, though. It was quite wonderful. Now, we're sitting at a lugger. Now, obviously, as you can see, the little banded plovers racing around, chasing after things. And look at the devastation. Look how much water is pumped through here. I suspect that a lot of this water has come down from the top of the escarpment and run all the way down into these drainage systems. And it reminds me... Oh, I've never seen a beaver before, or well, the way that they dam up areas, but it looks like there's been some beavers around here with all the wood. And then also it's brought back some fond memories, and not just because of the water, but because of the smell. It smells like you're at the beach a little bit, but what it really reminds me of is walking along the banks of the Kruger River, which is a river down in South Africa in St. Francis Bay in the Eastern Cape, and pumping prawns to go fishing with. It's just the smell of the mud. So that was quite a nice little memory. I hadn't thought about that for a very, very long time. I was a young lass then too, even younger than I am now. But it's beautiful. I think this will be quite a cool spot. We can probably get hippos and things coming through here. Lots of animals coming to utilize this to come and drink from it. We were going to try and cross it, and then I thought, probably going to get stuck. So we won't be doing that today. And I'd like to come back here this afternoon and see how the water has subsided, because it dries up so quickly here. I was so amazed by that. In fact, when I was across the other side of the river and we had a huge downpour, how wet it was. And the next that night everything was completely flooded. There were no roads. And then the next afternoon it was like there was nothing even there. So maybe we'll come and check up on this little spot and see how much of the water has actually dropped. But it's the perfect habitat now for little birds like the three-banded plover, or a lot of the lapwing species could come around here too. A lot of insects. I mean, there's still dragonflies everywhere at the moment, and quite cool. I'm surprised there's not a hammerkorp around here. That's actually surprising, because this is the perfect place for a hammerkorp to come fishing. I wonder who else we could come and see. A kingfisher with all the insects that are about, maybe a woodland kingfisher, possibly one of those. You can hear there's quite a few little birds chatting about at the moment. Probably some cisticulars. I'm sure there's some yellow-throated longclaws too. Ooh. Now, Michael, you're wondering, this is a very saucy question, you're wondering if a female bird would ever leave her mate to find or for another male that, well, I suppose is a bit more appealing. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that male's not providing well enough, and if he is responsible for helping to raise their young. If he's not doing a good enough job, perhaps she'll give him the boot. I haven't actually ever witnessed this kind of behavior before, but that would be virtually impossible unless you knew that you were looking at the same bird or the same two birds all the time. So I think that it is definitely possible. How often it happens? Probably more often than we actually think. Now, I can hear a rufous-naped lark calling. I'm trying to find it. I thought I saw it. It's that one that goes... No, I can't do the call. I'm not going to try because I thought I could. Not that one. I'm staring. My binoculars. Where are my binoculars? Hang on. Oh, Byron... I'm going to tell the viewers what you just said there. Byron apparently just said typical females jumping ship. And of course he's just joking. He doesn't mean any harm by it. Well, you got to do what you got to do, Byron. Costa, I've actually completely missed what you just said. I'm so sorry. I was too busy looking for this rufous. This rufous-naped lark is... Oh, hang on, wait. There it is, Ferg. You see where the grass just gets tall on the edge of the bank on our side? I can't guide Ferg, unfortunately. It's just on the tops of the grass. Where have we gone? I can see it with my binoculars, but I can't guide you. Okay, that's okay. We'll try find one that's out in the open. Anyways, it seems as though Byron has not got any birds, but he has got an Inyala.
Yeah. Don't worry. I have indeed got an Inyala. And Taylor, of course I was only joking. You're not meant to repeat my comments. Look at this. There's a young Inyala here. That's actually why I stopped. There's a little Inyala lamb. There it is. And there's some young males. So a typical family group with the females, young males, and some youngsters. Always wonderful to see the Inyala. They all still look a little bit wet, or the fur's a bit ruffled. From all the rain that we had. There's a lot of birds in this tree at the moment. There's a squirrel there too. Look at that. Just sunning itself. And that beautiful dead leadwood. One of my favorite trees. I can hear a golden-tailed woodpecker calling. A lot of little sunbirds around at the moment. There's spider-hunting wasp and bees, and there's a little sunbird up there. Let's just see if we can maybe get it on camera. It was fluttering around. And see which one it is. Yeah, there are a number of little birds. There's some long-billed crombecs I saw flying around. It's a bit difficult now. It's quite thick. Have a look around, especially with all the flowers and that coming out now. I might see some more birds, and we know there's a lot of birds that have migrated back already south, so that's always very nice. I was just thinking, speaking about that leadwood, now I must apologize again this morning. I think it was just maybe too early, or back on Safari Live these early mornings again. That tree that the leopard hoisted its kill into, or its kills. It was definitely a marula tree. Now, I don't know why I doubted myself earlier. I was just driving around looking. Now, the thing is, what's happened is, in the last 2 weeks, a lot of these trees have sprouted green leaves, bright green leaves, which is wonderful. It's moving into summer. And I just had a look at that marula, and I got confused this morning. But it was a marula tree that leopard hoisted its kill into, that those lions were in. So if I confused anybody about the tree, I'm sorry. I blame the early morning. Alright, now let's head across to my friend James, who apparently has a lizard he'd like to show you, a Angama lizard, and I wonder if he's now brushed up on his Eland clicking sound.
I have not brushed up on my Eland clicking sound, Byron, but the fact that you misidentified Sclerocarya birria today is a source of great shame to me, as the person, of course, who was initially responsible for your training. In fact, I will probably go and flagellate myself when we get home. So there we have a Mwanza. Beautiful lizards that they are. He's nodding at how beautiful he is. Can you see that? What is he? There's another one. It's a female. So he's the male. The female has got what looks to be a grass stalk sticking out of her bottom. It isn't. That's her tail. And they are having an argument. Yes, you did say that. No, I did not. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. How fantastic. Let's just watch and see what they do. See if he chases her as it gets a bit warmer. And just as Scott and Taylor have been struggling with the flies, as it gets a bit warmer here, so too we are struggling with the flies a little. He's obviously decided that she's not quite as irksome as she seemed, maybe. Hang on. Fascinating. Now, these lizards are not the only ones on the rock here, are they, Seb? No. But we have the lions of the Black Rock Pride. 2 lionesses here. One has gone off into the shade, and none of the cubs are here. I think they've all gone to find hidey holes in amongst the rocks. Francis, you want to know if this lizard that we're looking at changes colour, and the answer is no. The male is just the more colourful one, and the female much more drab. I mean, they change colour as they go from little babies, I suppose. But they don't change colour as adults like chameleons might, I suppose. Gregory, you want to know if they're monogamous and faithful to each other? Do they pair for life? Gregory, I don't know much about the Mwanza. I don't think so. I think you'll find that, as you suggest, it is a seasonal mating or breeding, and then, no, that'll be all over. Then they'll move on and, go through the winter months alone, bereft, and then find another partner later on. Marvellous. Let us go back to T-Bomb. T-Bomb has managed to find herself an aquatic animal. We're going to move on from here, I think, and see if we can't find that male perhaps once more, and then head off back towards where we came from.
Thank you very much, James. Now, speaking of bombs, I'm hoping that this hippopotami is going to jump and do a big bomb drop into the lugger, because that would be cannonball. That would be good, hey? That would be very impressive. I was just saying to you that in these luggers that have now filled up with water, we're probably going to see lots of hippos, and around the corner we went and there was one, and now it's standing out of the water. Got a bit of a fright, but we just switched off the car pretty quickly, and it seems to be settling down now. Hopefully it's going to make its way back in. But this hippo looks absolutely exhausted. Where have you been all night? Did you go to Talek? Did you go partying in Talek, perhaps? It's a far walk. Don't know if this hippo would make it all the way to Talek and back in one night. It's exceptionally far. But either way, the water that it was laying in doesn't seem to cover its entire body, because you can see there's a bit of a dry spot on top. I'm also trying to see if it is a male or a female. I think it's a boy. Normally it's the boys on their own, the females with their offspring, but it could just be a young female. It doesn't look particularly big. A couple of cuts and things on the right shoulder and around there, but you can see that on both male and females. Just males tend to have it more. Although I don't know if I've actually ever told you the story. So when I was in the Eastern Cape, I don't know how many times you've heard me say that. But anyways, there was an unfortunate death of a female hippo, and she was actually killed by a male. Now I don't know why he killed her. It was unusual. She actually had quite a young calf as well. So it was very sad. And what happened was, obviously the little predators ate mom, and little hippopotamus hung around for a little bit, and eventually made its way up to this massive dam at the reception area, and then it lived there, and it lived around camp. Well, not quite camp, not quite not the main lodge, but just around the reception area, and then where all the staff stayed, which was quite cool. Except when you were walking around at night and you'd bump into this little hippopotamus around the cars, and it would chase you. It was young, it was maybe about 2 years old, so it wasn't teeny tiny, but big enough to do some damage. Let's see, you are a boy. You're a real boy. That's what kind of hippo this one is. And a youngster. He's not a mature bull just yet. Now, Riti, you're wondering if the hippos live on land more in winter. I suppose that's a pretty good sort of observation. Now, you would have maybe seen that in the Sabi sand just because they're so desperate for food. And it's still quite hot though in winter. So in the Sabi sand you see the hippos out of the water more often. In an area like this, it's much of a muchness. They're in the water and out the water, I think, pretty much equal. They'll come out and sun themselves on the bank, and then of course they spend quite a few hours, about 8 hours or so out of the water in the evening, off to graze. And then now look, it's the middle of the day, it's warm, and this hippo is quite happy to move around, and he's going to find another spot, I think, to rest. I'm sorry, hippo. So it's a hard one, Riti. Like I said, it's a much of a muchness. I don't think so in this area. There seems to be an abundance of food, all year round here, more so than what we see in the sand. Now we're going to go from something that likes to move around on the ground. We're going to go into Scott's car now. He's got an animal that bounces about in the trees.
Yes, we do indeed. We have found this playful young baboon playing around in this tree, and I'm not sure, Manu, was that the same one that was riding on its mom's back earlier? No. Different one. So this one looks a bit too big, but there are some tiny newborn members to this troop of baboons that we're spending some time with. So, looking forward to introducing you to the rest of them. Sadly, it seems like all the mothers have all sat down now when like they're riding a horse. But it appears like all the babies have been plonked down now, giving their mothers some time to do as they please, and their fathers, I guess. Let's see if we can have a look at these ones closest to us on the left here, Manu. We might get the best views of them grooming one another. It's always wonderful to see them doing it. They take such care, the one doing it, and you can always, sadly our angle isn't the best, but the one getting pampered often certainly does look to be enjoying the pampering, and in this case it's the female pampering a male. Doing his eyebrows quickly. How cool is this? And he's loving the pampering, and he'll also return the favor. There's a lot of caressing and friendly grooming that the males and females do to build bonds, And she's looking for little parasites like ticks that you can see she's pulling off, and even the ones that she pulls off with her fingers, not her teeth, she will often eat them. They've got such beautiful thick furry coats, these olive baboons, which are slightly different to the ones down south. So that belongs to the lady who is caressing this big male. And let's see if the baby doesn't get jealous and demand some attention of its own. Very, very peaceful and calming scene here, as one buffalo looks on, seemingly jealous. Hello, chitty chatty Migs, I think. You would like to know if the mothers and fathers and children all hang around. Chitty chatty Megs. Thank you, Kirsty. Yes, generally how it works with baboons is you get multiple families living within a big troop. So this will be one of several males within this troop. So there's a gang of kind of dominant men. And I'm sure there's a lot of kind of dodgy business that goes on, stealing girlfriends, swapping wives. That's probably quite likely in the baboon world. But they'll each have, 5 or 6 girlfriends within the troop. And they band together to create, obviously, strength in numbers. So it would be unlikely that, these two are not a couple, but he will have other ladies within the troop that will also pamper him, and he will also, of course, pamper them from time to time. Just want to give it another minute or two. The rest of the troop kind of seems to be moving towards us, and I really would like to show you a baby riding on its mother's back. It's the coolest thing to see. But no luck just yet. You can see how that one who's walking is how its kind of tail sticks up a little bit vertically initially, and the babies help rest their back against that. The babies will also sometimes cling onto the stomach of the mother upside down. Oh, hello you. What a good climber you are. Joe, you've just pointed out how gentle they look, and yes, they do look very gentle and affectionate and caring. And I guess a lot of wild animals, if we take lion for example, they can also be incredibly tender and gentle when they want to be, but on the other hand, they can also be incredibly vicious, rough and tough. And I guess baboons are quite similar. As peaceful as the scene is now, baboons do also hunt for the odd protein bar, and it wasn't too long ago that I think Brent came across a disemboweled animal that the baboons were trying to dispatch. I've had a young impala in pieces before, so like I say, with their own species in the right context, they can be very gentle, but in the same note, they can also be quite vicious. These guys have got huge, huge teeth. Well, not these ones that we're looking at now, but they will get big teeth eventually. Imagine how cool it would be able to climb a tree as well as they can. I'm jealous. Right next to the buffalo. He does not have a care in the world that these little baboons are playing around here. That baby's still not quite as proficient at coming down the tree as its slightly older cousin appeared to be. Wonderful. That guy's still getting pampered. A few topi and zebra dotted off in the background there as the baboons continue to slowly approach, but sadly what I was hoping to show you has simply not materialized just yet. Hi Scottish, you would like to know if baboons would ever attack and kill lion cubs and then eat them. I think it definitely would have happened if a troop of baboons stumbles upon some tiny lion cubs with their mother away. I'm fairly certain they are going to tear them to shreds, and the same does go for leopard. They definitely will do that with leopard. How much they eat them, I'm not certain. I know for a fact that they do hunt lots of small antelopes, be it Thompson's gazelles or impala. There's a whole bunch of different types that they will snack on. They're very opportunistic. Like I say, also birds will be fed on. Oh, you found a little snack there. I love it when they start looking at us. This guy seems to be... No, obviously we're not very exciting. He gave us a moment of consideration there, but he found more entertaining things to view. I often wave at baboons hoping that one day one would wave back, but it's yet to happen. Okay, we might have some good views of some crossing the road up ahead here. This appears to be quite a small one. Popping out there. Hello, youngster. I sent Manu into a bit of a dead end there. Just a big patch of grass, really. The baboon hasn't popped out as I was hoping it to, but maybe the two of them will decide to cross the road together. I wonder where they sleep, these guys, or how far they've moved and how far they will move during a day. I mean, I'm guessing they sleep up in the escarpment in the opposite direction to where they're heading now. But I think they do cover quite a lot of ground in search of food. Hi, Heather, you'd like to know if the baboons have ever come close to the vehicle. Well, not here, and in most areas I found they're fairly cautious of vehicles. However, you do get some areas where us horrible humans have started feeding them. Very silly. Do not feed the animals as a general rule unless you know very well the type of animal it is and how it will eventually begin to react to us as humans. But primates especially are not clever animals to feed, and the reason being is that they are our cousins and they too are very clever. And once they learn that they can get food from us, they very soon learn that they are quicker than us and smarter than us. So you get some places where baboons will literally jump into vehicles. You're driving along, hot sunny day, baboon jumps in your window, everyone obviously jumps out the car, and then the baboon helps itself to all your tasty snacks. In South Africa we would call it patkos, which is a Dutch or Afrikaans word which means road food. Very good. Let's see which baboons may be the good ones. Maybe this one coming down the tree to enjoy the last glimpses of them before we say goodbye. Sadly, the safari... Well, this guy's got quite a shaggy hairdo, young rebel. Sadly, this morning's safari has come to a close, but we will be out again this afternoon and already looking forward to spending some more time with you out there. Sadly, it won't be me this afternoon. I think I'm off this afternoon. I'm not sure which of the Mara crew is going to drive, nor who is going to drive in Djuma, but there will be a bunch of us out on safari. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your contributions, and we will see you all next time.